Welcome back to Marlon Speaks Live. Um, thank everybody for chiming in and commenting and liking and subscribing to the channel, especially with that last video where I was speaking about the immigrants getting a wake up call, right? So, as I'm sure most of y'all are aware of, most of my, African descent, Black American slave Americans, descent. And I just want to clear this up because I got a comment on one of on that actual video that I just spoke on about somebody saying that we more than we were not slaves. We more than that. Yeah, of course we are the original people. We are the original man. Um, we are descendants of the first human beings. Period. Right. So um, when you hear me say slave American, now we way more than that. Right. We are the alpha and the omega. We the beginning and the end. Like that's what's in our bloodline. But we have to differentiate ourselves from the immigrant Africans and all of the other African descent, in our diaspora. We have to specify because we have a totally different culture than all of them, right? And I truly believe that uh, us being brought over here was really to really open the minds and the hearts and the whole you know broad scope of what human beings represent. I think that we are the key to humankind, to unlocking the similarities that we all have. Like I believe our culture, what we've been through, like I said, the slave Americans, like now we're not literally slave Americans, but like I said, our history is we have what every other race of people on this earth, um, whether they're melanated, darker immigrants, um, even the whites, a lot of the whites, that's from like Ireland, the Polish and the ones that weren't so the Italians, the ones that weren't so ideal as far as what white supremacy is. A lot of them envy us. Especially right now, knowing that we can't be we can't be deported. You know what I'm saying? And the history that we have is so rich and so we persevered. Our ancestors persevered. Like for us to be living right now and living this dream that we live in, most of us slave Americans, like I said, and I embrace that term, not in the sense of like we are that's all we are. I embrace it in the sense of like what we did with that. That's it. Other than that, I embrace our original history of being the original man. You know what I'm saying? We can never get away from that when we speak about what this melanin represent. This melanin represent God. Period. End of discussion. So I just don't want nobody to get confused when I say slave Americans. What I really mean is this culture. But what's underneath this melanin is God. Period. So just understand what I'm saying. Slave American is on the surface. This melanin is within. You know what I'm saying? This what we really represent is God. But yeah, man, I really appreciate everybody chiming in and commenting. It's so good to have discussion and be able to communicate with our people, man. Like us getting together. That's really what I believe is about to happen. Another commenter said like, what's going to happen after this? We're just going to go about our separate ways. No, actually, what I feel is happening already is that we're going to use this technology to like basically change this whole entire system. So, but let me get on my on what this live is about. This live, what I wanted to speak on is Trump taking away MLK Day and Juneteenth from getting free access to national parks. Okay, so first of all, I'm going to say this. I don't know if I'm alone, but I believe it's a lot of us. We didn't even know that was the thing. We don't like to go to fucking parks. We don't. We don't because you know why? We got to deal with y'all. We got to deal with you racist, crazy ass white folks. So we don't even like to be in public like that with y'all. We don't even, for the most part. A lot of us do, but a lot of us, majority of us don't. We don't want to go to no goddamn park and be around you. We don't want to see y'all motherfucking faces. You know what I'm saying? To be honest with y'all. We don't want to we don't want to grace y'all with our presence. Because we know when our presence is shown, it changed the whole dynamics about what's going on. The police getting called for no reason and all that kind of shit. So that's for one. I don't think most of us knew that was a thing. And for him to replace that free access to the parks with his birthday, that for the most of us that's enlightened, we know that we control him. Our presence alone controls him. He wake up, he go to sleep. His whole life, he has been fixated with this melanin. Yeah. See, this is the thing. This is why a lot of y'all don't understand, like, what money and success and all of that, how that don't really mean nothing. At a certain point, when you get so much money and so much success, you start to delve into other things, darker things. You get fixated on, whether like you Diddy or somebody, you get fixated on having control sexually. Trump, obviously, he's fixated on having control with his skin tone. He's fixated on black people. Always have been. We know that. Most of us, that's why we not out in the streets being mad. This shit not gonna piss us off. Actually, it's making my heart warm that he would do that. Like, oh, we got that much control over this dude. Like MLK Day, like what MLK represents in our spirits. It's nothing that no non-melanated person could do to make us feel any other kind of way about MLK. Nothing. Malcolm X, none of our heroes. Nothing. It's in our spirit. You can't take that away. So this government, even giving us that day in January, you're giving us nothing. You know what I'm saying? Like and actually it's the reciprocal. We gave all humankind life. We gave y'all life. Without us, y'all wouldn't even live, right? So it's just crazy how these people think that they could give. You can't give this melanin nothing. Trust me, we gave y'all life. So it's just crazy that, these people, it's really crazy, that y'all be so mad about them giving us MLK Day and giving us Juneteenth. Now, I'm going to say this about Juneteenth. Like what that commenter said, like what I was speaking on earlier about us being more than slaves, right? That's how I look at Juneteenth. I don't feel like we should be celebrating a day where, slavery, but I do acknowledge it. You know what I'm saying? I do acknowledge it. And if y'all don't know what Juneteenth is, Juneteenth represent, so for 2 years after slavery, it was still slaves. And the last group of them got released on, they said approximately June 19th in Galveston, Texas. So, that's supposed to represent the real last day of slavery. You know what I'm saying? So I get it. You know what I'm saying? I definitely get it. I did my history on that. I was raised reading Black encyclopedia books. I was already heavily informed about what Juneteenth represent. So I understood it. But I don't think I think that's something we should be celebrating within. I don't think that, white America should even know about it. You know what I'm saying? Let alone be celebrating it. So that's just my opinion on Juneteenth. You know what I mean? But I'm all for it. You know what I'm saying? That's just how I look at it, because we really more than slaves. Like what that commenter said, we way more than slaves. We are God. That's what we should be celebrating. Like all of February, every other race should be celebrating Black History Month because they came from us. We shouldn't even be celebrating it as much. We should just, do like what we doing now. Going about our day, drinking our coffee, chilling, minding our business. You know what I'm saying? That's all we should be doing during February. Every other race should be revering. They should be thanking God for any melanated person. And I'm going to say this, man, for all of you Black Americans, all you immigrants from Africa, from wherever, from the islands, from wherever, South America, wherever you come from, all over Europe, wherever you come from, know that our people over here, all them hundreds of years, that struggle was so y'all could come over here and do what y'all doing now. Don't spit in our ancestors' faces coming over here. Y'all need to fall right in line. And y'all need to be revering us, descendants of our slave ancestors. Y'all need to be revering us. Y'all need to be in awe that we still here and doing as well as we doing. Because we are setting the foundation for y'all to build on. But what y'all do is y'all come over here and y'all act like we are a nuisance. And I'm talking to you Middle Easterns, you Arabs. Y'all got some of this melanin in y'all too. It's obvious. We can look at you and tell. We know our people when we see them. Yeah. You Spaniards, Africans ruled over Spain for 700 years. A lot of y'all got it. Italians, y'all right over there in the Mediterranean. We can look at y'all and tell. Y'all need to cut it out. But every person on earth come from Africa. You Asians, we know y'all. The Thai people, a lot of y'all dark. So y'all need to start giving reverence to us Americans, Black Americans that's still over here, that we're the descendants of people that survived one of the worst atrocities ever committed, ever recorded and committed in mankind. And please quit trying to compare your history, your worst history against our worst history. It's nothing to compare. Ours is documented, very well documented. It is what it is. And to the Native Americans, which a lot of us, actually, we are the Native Americans. We are the native earthlings. Black people are the native of everybody. So, but just speaking specifically to that branch that came out here and populated the Americas first. Y'all branch. The natives of this country, what we call, even the Mexicans, a lot of the Mexicans are native to this land, right? Or descendants of the people native to this land. Listen, the difference between us and y'all were colonized. We were enslaved, right? That difference, and this is something that another commenter said, and I pinned it on that last video. This something just gave me a lot of perspective. We have different perspectives, but what we got to understand is the struggle that you guys face is no versus the struggle that our people faced. Our people were the backbone of the industry, of the thing that built this wicked ass system. Our ancestors didn't want to do it. No, I'm sure they didn't even really know what the fuck was going on. They was over here being forced to do the shit that they was doing. Right? These same people, these same wicked criminals, the original Americans was criminals. Criminals. These were people that Europe didn't even want in their countries. So yeah, they come over here, they brutal. They come over here and they brutally massacre the Native Americans, which is horrible. It was horrible, right? But please don't think that you got something against us. You know, we were doing something against our will. Our ancestors doing something against their will, right? So just like livestock, you keep your livestock alive. They kept the majority of us alive until I think they realized we were starting to outnumber them. And that's kind of like where we at now with this political shit that's going on. We still there. You know, when they outlawed slavery, it wasn't out of noble means. I really believe it's because our ancestors started to outnumber them, especially in the South. That's where they kind of came up with all these different Jim Crow laws to, you know, mitigate and circumvent the, the outcome of the vote, which is called gerrymandering. You know what I'm saying? They doing the gerrymandering in Texas right now. You know, they doing it. You know, they counter it in Cali right now, which is a good thing. So I'm just gonna say this, man. Trump taking away Juneteenth and MLK Day from free access to the parks and replacing it with his birthday, I believe is making more his people are disgusted with his ass. Yeah, his base, MAGA base, white racist people, I believe they are disgusted more so than black Americans, than us. You know why? Because racist white people, they don't like to be, not too many of them as a collective, I don't think they like to be overt. They don't like to have, they don't like to know that, they don't want everybody that they are hateful towards to know. They like to be sneaky with their shit. So I think that they are going to go against Trump, really not because of what he did, is how he did it. Right? You know, tweeting and letting it be known, like they like to be sneaky with their hate. You know, overall, a lot of them, you know, they overt, you know, they say, you know, crazy stuff loud, but that's like the backwood redneck version of white people. And most white people, most racist white people, they don't identify with them backwood rednecks because they really hate them. Just like within the black culture, a lot of us successful, you know, a lot of us that's doing okay for ourselves, we're not proud of our, you know, the ones that's shooting and killing. The only difference is within our culture, we still gonna try to hold their hands. If you real and you tapped in, you ain't gonna never let your brother hand go. You ain't gonna never give up on them. You know, some of our people have not only gave up on our hood brother, our hood versions of our brothers and sisters, but they are actively Uncle Tom, and you know what I'm saying, they actively Uncle Ruckusin, you know what I'm saying? But that's a very small percentage of our population. But the majority of the white racist majority here in this country, they don't identify, they actually hate them rednecks. They hate them with a passion. They hate the ones that's outwardly racist. They believe in being sneaky with their racism. So I think the majority of white people the majority of the base that Trump got, they're gonna go against him based on shit like this, not because they don't agree with him, because of how he doing it, and especially replacing it with his day. I think that's what the majority of them actually gonna go against him on. Not that he took away MLK Day and Juneteenth, is that he replaced it with his day. Because that's what obviously make it what they call authoritarianism, right, type shit. Which, believe it or not, black America, we really don't give a fuck about none of that shit. You know, what could be worse than being enslaved and Jim Crow and all the other shit that our people that went through? Authoritarianism, that was some shit that they based on, like with Mussolini and Hitler and all of them. They based they shit on what America had been doing for hundreds of years. So authoritarianism ain't nothing compared to the system, that white supremacy system that birthed that shit. See, America is the birthplace of all of that shit. And people, all these new enlightened white folks, they try to say like authoritarianism the word. Nah, trust me. This system that America built or the Europeans built and exported to this country, and this country being the first experiment with white supremacy, right? This was the birthplace of authoritarianism and all that other shit that spawned from it. This is the mother. So, and our people was the ultimate sufferers of this system. So, and they know that, you know what I'm saying? They know that. But, I think with Hitler, he took it a step above and started doing the camps and, exterminating, But this country is actually, they are trying to actively exterminate our people at this point. That's what's going on. They're just doing it by different means. They're doing it with every other way, with the food, with the environment, with the, financially, scholastically. They're trying to eliminate us from every angle, literally. So, yeah, I'm just giving y'all a little insight on how and why our people will not be fazed by nothing this administration does. We will still be here doing this. You know why? Because our ancestors already fought this motherfucking battle. The thing of it is, white America is starting to have to fight like our ancestors fought already. They don't have the skin for it. Literally, they don't have the skin for it. So when we see them out there protesting, that shit don't even really get the kind of, it don't really get the kind of, you know what I mean? It don't get the results that ours get. This melanin, when we come together and start just walking in peace, no looting, that gets the most response. That gets the most hate. But our ancestors already did that. So we doing it. We got another, we always forward thinking. Trust me, all of humankind take notes from Black Americans. We are always forward thinking. We don't go back. So MAGA, what making America great again, we so far ahead, we're going to make America great once and for all. That's where we at. We're going to make the world great once and for all. We're going to finally make the world great. All our ancestors' struggles was for the whole humankind to understand how and why we are all connected and related. But we got to always know that this melanin is the beginning. This melanin is the beginning of all mankind. And until all other races start to understand that, and not only understand it, but vocally say it. Just feeling it and knowing it is not enough. We have to start verbally saying these things, man. Everybody's Black. Everybody come from what Black people is. You might not have the exact hue no more, but your ancestors, your long lost ancestors came from Africa and were all just Black. Tribalism and all the bullshit that we seeing right now with all that is the source of why our humankind can't come together. Tribalism has actually created these different races. You know what I'm saying? Because you start not being around each other so long, you start to look different, right? It is what it is. But now that we got this technology, maybe we can at least connect, on these platforms like what we doing now. So what I want y'all to do is continue to watch, continue to like, comment, share, subscribe, get in the comments. Let me know what y'all think about this video. Let me know what y'all think about Trump taking away MLK Day and Juneteenth and adding his birthday as the day you can get in the parks for free. I just want to know what y'all think about it, man. I'm out. Marlon Speaks Live. 1.